Hi everybody, welcome back to XL 10 Minute Leaders Live. My name is Graham Brown. One of the most important skills you're going to need in this current climate is presentation here in this format, presenting skills as well as managing events online, offline to help us navigate that space, hopefully to share a few tips with us today. Joining us all the way from Tasmania, Rose Davidson. Rose, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, it's good to have you here. So,
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
yeah. What are we going to learn about today, Rose? Quick heads up, and then we'll dive into it. Give us
I
the one sentence.
One sentence. How speakers, consultants, small business owners can transition their offline events, webinars, conferences to an online format,
Excellent.
and
All
how
right,
I
we've
can
got
help
10
them
minutes.
do that.
That's why you're here, Rose.
That's it.
You have the plan. 10 minutes. Are you ready?
Go.
Let's do it. All right. The easy question kicking us off, Rose, is what does it say on your business card?
Online event consultant. That's what
Okay.
I am, and that's what I do.
You must have seen a spike in business in the last 2 years, right?
I guess, yeah, a lot of people are a bit frightened to go online because they're not so tech savvy. This last 18 months has forced them to learn how to be online, but a lot of people are just too shy to
Hmm.
do it, and it's just not in their comfort zone, and so they don't think that being online is going to make them any money, but they don't realize that being online is probably make them more money than it would be as at an in-person event.
Hmm. Did you come from the world of in-person events before?
Um, no,
Hmm.
no, to be honest, I am a behind the scenes type of person, and so I just make all the PowerPoint slides for the presenters, and I do the promotional videos for them. So I make them up from an online platform, and just give them to them to to present to their audience. And
Hmm.
then then I moved into helping them behind the scenes. So setting up their events. Managing the tech behind the thing if anything goes wrong, warming up the audience, talking to the audience, and just monitoring the chat box so that the presenter doesn't need to do that. So yeah, I do all of that in the background, so they can just show up on screen and look beautiful or
Yeah.
handsome, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that's what they need to do, right? They don't need to worry about all the moving parts. And there's quite a lot,
Absolutely.
actually, isn't there, as well? There's quite a lot of stuff going on that you want to be focused and present on the audience and the guests and the hosts rather than worrying about
Absolutely.
clicking that button and you know how it is. So when
Yeah,
you talk
I
about online events, you're talking about webinars.
webinars, events, conferences, any of
Mm,
those sorts of things. So people do workshops online, um, events such as I don't know, people do event meetings. I guess
mm,
maybe you might call them more meetings than events, and that sort of and large conferences where there's a lot of people come. And
mm.
you have a lot of speakers all going at the same time.
I think we've all felt the last 18 months that we've very much been thrust into the world of online events. You know,
Mm,
I'm very passionate about them. I think that they, when done well, they work really well. Unfortunately, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, there's too many examples of being done badly. We've all sat
absolutely.
through awful, awful webinars. And I'm sure it's the same with like from the world of presentation, isn't it? It's like we've sat through, oh no, this is awful. But
Yeah.
it's the same with events. Is what typically do people do wrong? Let's start with get those out. Okay, what are the sort of the ways that people approach events? You think, come on, this is not about how you use this medium.
They don't include their audience. They talk at them and they don't talk with them.
Hmm.
The most important thing for a presenter to do is to engage the audience. So that's like asking questions. Don't leave your Q&A till the end. Make them interact into the chat. You've got someone there, hopefully, that's monitoring that can pass on the questions to you, or you can take a short break during the process and just have a quick glance through what the chat's saying, answer those questions as you go along, and that way the audience feels engaged, and
Hmm.
that is really important. It's no good just sitting there, someone's talking at you all the time, and it's boring
It's
and
like
it
school.
makes you tired. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's tiring.
Yeah, I love that, not leaving the QA till the end. That's what everybody does. The
Mm,
last 15 minutes, and it's an hour webinar. They'll say,
mm.
we'll do
Uh,
40 minutes and then 20 minutes Q&A, but it never is. It's like they'll do 57 minutes and 3 minutes. We'll take one
yeah.
question.
And the other
And
thing that they do wrong is, and it was just on the tip of my tongue. Oh, yes, when they're doing a presentation and, you go to a webinar to learn stuff. This is why you've gone to a webinar. But the first, like if it's an hour webinar, the first 30 minutes is all about the presenter. So, all of their testimonials, all of about, the presenter, what they've done, all the other stuff. No one cares. They really
not
don't
these
care. They've
days,
come to
really.
learn something. They don't need to listen to you waffle on about yourself. 5 minutes tops. That's it. People, obviously do need to know who the presenter is and some of their background, but not for like 30 minutes.
No.
It's too long.
Yeah. You got to respect time and attention because you're not.
Absolutely.
I went to, I mean, in the days of the old events, I used to go and speak at events. And typically what would happen is you turn up, let's say the event's at 9 o'clock, you turn up at 8:45, you register, you'll get your badge, you'll get your pack, you'll then get your coffee and your biscuits and your croissant. And then you'll go and find, a white tabletop seat to sit at. And you get your candies in the bowl there, and who's sitting next to you, and you get your pad and your paper. And all that nonsense, it's like 8:45, 9 o'clock. Okay, now the first speaker's coming on. You got the MC and so on. Now, I went to a webinar not so long ago, and to show just how we haven't progressed and used webinars and events to their full potential, you go to this webinar, and the webinar starts at 8:45, and so the screen comes up with all the music, and presenting to you, so you're already engaged, and it doesn't start till actually 9 o'clock. So they're still in this mindset that people are kind of rolling in and bumbling around. But what they don't realize is you've got 6 seconds, and if you don't grab their attention in 6 seconds, they're off looking at pictures of cats, or they're on Facebook, or they're messaging.
Absolutely. And if
And I
it
wonder,
starts at 9, you don't need the preamble 15 minutes before, because people know that it starts at 9 o'clock. you know 2
it's old
minutes
school.
before. I do 2 live streams a week, and if I'm on screen for 30 seconds before my face appears on there, because people don't care. They don't. And if the music's really horrible, they'll switch off straight away. It's got to be
Yeah,
really nice
they're a
music.
tough crowd these days. What works really well? Tell us what sort of, from your experience, tips. And we talked about, for example, how not to do it. But what have you found have been like interesting discoveries in the world of online events? You thought, wow, that worked really well.
Yeah, well, your PowerPoint, if you're going to use a PowerPoint, it has to be engaging. It can't just be the old boring where you've got, 50 lines of text on a slide.
No.
No, 5 lines tops. Make sure your images match the message that you're presenting. Be natural, just be yourself, be authentic. Don't be somebody that you're not.
But how do you do that? Everybody says be authentic. What is it? A switch, a turn on? What do you actually have
No,
to do?
it's people think that then when they get to being presenting or speaking, that they have to be a different person. Just go on stage and just be the person that you are before you get on the stage. That you, to your friends or your family or your co-workers, just be that person, because people will know that you're not being genuine and that you are pretending to be something that you're not, and so they will
Fake.
you'll just lose them. It's
Yeah.
and eye contact is really important.
But
It's,
how do
I
you
know
do
it's hard.
yeah, how do you
It's
do
hard
that?
not to look at hard not to look at the person that you're speaking to, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I find it a little bit confronting just to peer at the camera, but I'd rather look at your face, because even in person, facial expression gives you the feedback that whether you're doing a good job or you're not. So, it looks like I'm looking at the camera, but I'm really looking at you.
Yeah. Well, we pick up on that, don't we? I mean, we've been doing this for hundreds of thousands of years, and
Absolutely.
only 18 months of online events. I know it's been older, but for a lot of people, it's 18 months. That's a fraction of a percent of it. So we still interact and read people and build trust, importantly,
It's
through old school ways. So that's really important. And the bit about being yourself and being human is really important. That
It is
the
definitely
best
that.
presenters, they're always like very relaxed, tell stories, maybe humorous. You know,
Yeah,
they know how to connect with audiences.
absolutely. Yeah, and you have to do that because, um, you might have 200 pairs of eyes sitting on your face,
Mm.
but you can't look at 200 people like you can in an in-person event. So you just have to rely on the fact that you're hoping that they're engaging with you. And if you're not being your own self, and you're pretending to be Tony Robbins, for instance, well, don't bother, because they'll see right through you.
There's a lot of people that do that. We've seen them.
Yes. Yes, and
Exactly.
it's
There's only
not
one.
it's disingenuous. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's great advice, Rose. Rose Davidson, everybody. Where do we find out more about you?
Well, you can go to my website at rose-davidson.com, and I have a number of packages on there that I have on offer. You can find me on Facebook at Rose Davidson. What is it? Hybrid speaker expert. You can find me on LinkedIn at Rose-Davidson, and you can find me on Instagram, not Instagram, YouTube as well, under Rose Davidson, or you can find my podcast at, it's called Talking with the Experts.
Excellent. Rose, thanks for coming today and sharing a little bit of your world with us. Appreciate
My
that.
pleasure. Thank you so much.